Well, hello and welcome to my apiary. It's August 30th today. So today what we're going to do is we're going to check we called it our transition hive, which is right over here. It's our hive. We acquired this hive probably around June 10th from a beekeeper nearby who found out he was highly allergic to bee stings, and this is a flow hive too, and it turned out that this colony, it appears to have been taken over by Africanized bees. So we got it here to my apiary about June 10th, and within 2 to 3 days we introduced a new SASKATRAZ queen to this colony after finding the original Africanized queen and getting rid of her. And if you look at a couple of videos whose links are posted down below, you'll see how we went in and introduced the new queen to this Africanized hive, and you'll see hopefully what a big difference there is between then and now. I know this hive is already probably settled down, and all of the Africanized bees have just been kind of filtered out by attrition. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go through this formerly Africanized colony and check them, because we haven't checked them since we introduced them, but the temperament of the bees has been much changed. I can walk just without a bee suit on or anything within about 6 feet of the hive and not be bothered by the bees at all. But we'll see how that is today. Okay, so let's get ready to go into this hive and have a look. Gonna give them a little bit of smoke here at the entrance. So we're going to get down into the brood box here today and check on the temperament of the bees, number one, number two, look at the queen, her egg laying, and so on and so forth. Alright, so we're going to see what the temperament of these bees is like, since it's been basically a couple months since we've opened up and looked at this hive. Okay, so we're going to pop the inner cover here. We're going to pull a little smoke in here. Okay. Alright. We're going to pull this honey super off. We harvested quite a bit of honey out of here a couple months ago. If we can pull this off. Yeah, it's not very heavy. So obviously there's not a lot of honey up in here. And we'll start up here in this medium box. Quite a few bees up here. Okay, so I can already tell very easily that this hive has transitioned from a very nasty Africanized colony to now it's a SASKATRAZ colony. The queen we introduced here basically a couple months ago was a SASKATRAZ queen. But if you watch my videos, when I first opened up, well, actually 2 different days, opened up the hive to look for the queen and introduce the queen, the bees were immediately boiling up by the hundreds coming after me. These bees are very calm right now, and they're not coming out of the hive. Their demeanor is very, very nice, very typically a SASKATRAZ colony. Now I'm just going to pull a couple of these medium frames out just to have a quick look to see what kind of stores these girls have in here. Oh, there's brood up in here. So we need to look for the queen up in here. Maybe she'll be up here. But we got lots of brood. And I'm seeing lots of eggs. Yeah, we got a good brood pattern here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer so you can see this. So we got a really good brood pattern up in here with worker brood. That's good to see. And this is up the medium super. See some larvae of different stages in here. And some eggs. I'm going to pull one more frame out here. So already this colony has told me that they're much more gentle than they were when they were an Africanized colony. Yeah, there's lots of young larvae, eggs, larvae of all stages, and there's some sealed brood up in here. They'll probably be emerging pretty soon. And again, the temperament of these bees are phenomenally much better compared to what they were before when they were an Africanized colony. And looking down in the bottom, I'm seeing a whole lot of bees, which makes me think that I could possibly, because they could still swarm at this time of year. Again, this is almost September 1st, and oh, this has got a lot of pollen in here. Well, you might be able to see this. I'll hold it up here. All that nice orange and yellow pollen. They're bringing in a lot of pollen. That's good. Our monsoon season, which isn't quite over, but it's not been very good. And so up in here we have some nectar, some honey, sealed honey. Anyway, I'm thinking maybe I can do a couple of splits out of this hive, because the bee population is very, very, very strong, and there's enough of the summer and everything that left that we could. Okay, this is all solid honey here. Most of it's capped honey. More honey in the next frame over right here. That's more honey, capped honey. So these bees have got lots of stores. They're obviously bringing in a lot of pollen. So let me pull out one more frame from this side. And again, I'm looking for the queen. I'm sure there's one in here because I'm seeing evidence from the eggs that the queen is in here, our SASKATRAZ queen. Don't necessarily have to look and find the queen every time. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of eggs and young larvae down in here. So with the eggs, that tells me the queen is in here somewhere. Probably down in the bottom brood box. But I don't really feel like I can, or I need to go down in there to find the queen. Oh, again, we got more honey here. Anyway, I think I've seen enough here in this hive to button it back up and move on. But if you haven't already, I really would encourage you to go look at the other hive, my other videos of that when they were Africanized colonies, and you'll see what I'm talking about as far as the change and the temperament of the hive. It is like night and day. It really is. Okay, I'm just going to kind of tap that ear down in there. It came undone. I don't think the guy who had this originally had used any glue, just nails. So we're going to go ahead and we've seen enough. We know there's a queen in here. We've seen lots of eggs, larvae of various stages. This is just in the upper box here. Lots of pollen, honey. And this queen has a nice pattern here of sealed brood, so she has a good laying pattern. And yeah, I'm seeing eggs and larvae on the peripheral, as well as some pollen and nectar. So this queen's doing a very good job, which I find that's fairly typical for SASKATRAZ bees or queens and colonies, for my area here anyway. They produce very good hives, very productive hives, but also very gentle hives. And so that answered one of my questions. What is the temperament of these bees like now? Since it's probably around June 12th, I believe, when we introduced the new SASKATRAZ queen. So here it is, August 30th, almost September. This colony is very nice, very gentle bees. And I encourage you to look at the other two videos, which I'll put links in down at the bottom, and just look at those bees compared to here. I mean, I've got a few bees flying around me, not very many. They don't seem like they're very angry, but that's a big difference from when this was an Africanized colony, because I literally had hundreds of bees coming around me trying to get at me. And this colony is doing very well. So we're going to button it back up. I don't need to disturb these girls anymore. They're coming and going a lot. So we're going to go ahead and close it back up. I'm going to leave this honey super on, because it's very possible we could get another honey flow maybe in September. We usually do if we've gotten enough monsoon rains, but I don't think we've gotten enough monsoon rains to get much of a bloom in September. I kind of call it a late September bloom of flowers. Of course, that provides resources for the bees, nectar, pollen, but I don't think that's really going to happen this year, simply because we just have not had a very good monsoon season, which is like July and August, and sometimes into mid-September. So I'm guessing we probably won't have that much of a... It hasn't been that good of a summer either, really, to be honest about it. Okay, so let's go ahead and put the roof back on, and we'll close up this hive and just let them be. Okay. And we'll just tighten up these little screws here on the sides to hold the roof down, just in case we should get a big wind or something coming in. I may look for a brick to put on here too.